IMHO Talk Show. IMHO Talk Show.
Yes.
You got Sir Charles.
And Miss Max.
And we are live and in living color. And, we have another segment with none other than Indie Short Film Festival's own. The creator, the curator, the director, the marketer.
Who is it?
The producer, the promoter. Serial entrepreneur.
I just came back from LA with the award for my short film.
Hey, give it up.
Yeah. Right, give me mine. I work hard at that. Annette Banks and I work hard on that film.
Yeah, love it, man. Congrats, congrats to you, man. That's right. So people know, that we're serious right about now. We know that it's not a game when Mr. Ty Cooper is in the building. Always bringing outstanding quality to Charlottesville. And as we all know, in March now, it has become a tradition that we celebrate the indie short films in this Indie Short Film Festival. And so, Ty, thanks once again, and thank you for always coming on the airwaves and then bringing all this talent. You introduced us to so much talent.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the platform.
Yeah.
I love the platform anyway, but then I also love to share the platform with other creatives, so you have two amazing creatives on the show tonight.
Absolutely.
Beside me, and it feels good. It feels good to be able to provide that to people.
Yeah, man, I love it. So, and we are speaking about none other than Miss Monique Linder and Susan Reid. And just a quick intro and then they can formally introduce themselves. Ms. Monique Linder founded OMG Digital Media Solutions in 2014, establishing a media, entertainment, and technology consulting firm built on a distinctive cultural lens, right? And Ms. Susan Reid is an assistant professor in directing at Georgia State University. She is a nationally recognized film and theater director, writer, producer, and coach. So, ladies, thank you all for joining In My Humble Opinion Talk Show.
Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Indeed. So as most of our listeners know, this is the 2026 season that we're about to celebrate in March, and those tickets are for sale and everything right about now for the Indie Short Film Festival. So let's start, with you first, Miss Linder. How did you get connected with Ty Cooper? Because it's Ty and I go way back. I know Ty from many different places, but give us the origin stories on how you two began to collaborate.
That's probably where the trouble started, right? So there I was needing some assistance, and I kept emailing him, and so we kind of met that way. And he was very interested in my film Reconstruction Destructed, and which led up to us being in the film festival. But I think originally, it was just this connection, and I would say Ty should answer that, right? In terms of what he saw in my film and why we're in the film festival. So it's a pleasure working with Ty, and just such an honor for us to be in his film festival.
Yes, awesome.
Thank you for that.
And before Ty gives his rebuttal or his elaboration, Miss Susan Reid, thank you for joining us as well. And as far as yourself, the connections of Ty, the Indie Short Film Festival, how did your involvement come to be?
I have actually been coming to the festival. This will be my third year. And so it was one of those things where the very first year, my collaborator and colleague, Mary Emily Deal, and I came to screen. What did we screen that year? Oh, Superpower. Sorry, Superpower. All of the films start to blur together. And as soon as we got to the festival, it was not like any festival I'd gone before. Ty was so personal. I remember still very specifically the first moment I met Ty. He came walking up to Mary, Emily, and I at the opening Friday night party for the festival that year. And as he came up and was introducing himself to people, and as soon as we said who we were, he knew exactly who we were. He knew what film we had. He was anticipating meeting us, made us feel so welcome, and did that the whole time. I never felt like this sort of anonymous person that was just showing up to have my film screened. I felt like I was really part of a community. And so every year we come back. Why wouldn't we? Because it's the best run festival I know of. And I keep meeting new people and networking with those new people. And then I'm excited to see them the next year. I can't wait to meet you too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. We'll be at the receptions and after parties. Don't worry. And the screenings, of course. But so you gotta relax a bit. So Ty, go ahead, man. How do you want to follow up on that?
Well, Susan, at least one of them would be there, not all, because they don't. all do not come. So that's just what it is. And you can't see one of them; she's hiding away from the camera.
Yeah. Ty always gives me a hard time. Ladies, I'm sure you're very familiar.
When I, the filmmakers, everyone submit their film and to be into the to be considered to be in the festival and so forth. And there's a lot of competition, and so I have 3 other associate programmers, with the festival. So the films come to me, then I allocate the films to to the respective programmers, right? And then they watch it critically, and then they rate them and all that stuff. So long story short, when I saw Monique's film, the documentary, I always tap on them, and then I open it up. Even if I don't watch it at that moment, I open it up just to kind of see the quality. Then I'll send it to the programmer to watch. But I saw hers, and I was like, Reconstruction Destructed. I said, okay, nice name, nice title, cool. And it made me inquire what it was about. So when I opened it, I started watching it, and I was like, "Oh, this is important. It's relative, it's topical, it's historical, it's all the things that make a great documentary. When it come down to rising interest and compelling interest to take part and be part of it. So that's what I did. I was part of it. My interest kind of like captivated me, and then I was like, oh, "This is good." And I didn't even sign. I sent it to Annette Banks. Because she is my associate programmer for the docs. But I watched it, though, and it was already in my mind to be in it. I was going to make sure it was in it, even no matter what was said. So, and that's what happened. And then we communicated, and then she asked me 1,001 questions.
Yes, she should.
I explained 1,001 things, and we're here today with the interview with her, featuring her. And then, Susan, it was like, as she described, I knew them because I really liked their film. And Susan, didn't you guys submit a screenplay at that time too?
We did. Actually, Mary Emily and I both did. Mary Emily, it was Fire Talker, and you all did a reading of Fire Talker that year too. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. So what happened with Fire Talker? I mean, both of them were so good, but they had a film in it and they had the script. And I was like, so I knew their name, and I really admired their work. And then that's what happened. And then we got, connected, and it's been like family ever since.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, Miss Max, we are joined by Monique Linder, Susan Reid, and Ty Cooper. I'm talking about the Indie Short Film Festival. One of the things that stood out to me, y'all, is how you talked about like the level of intimacy that is with this film festival. And I can't help but think that has, like a lot to do with Charlottesville, right? So I'm curious on Ty's take, and and I would love to hear a response from you ladies as well. But because Ty, you've traveled the world at different film events and things of that sort. For someone to give you that kind of response to the atmosphere that you set, right? Like, is that something that's like special to the community that you live in?
Yeah, it's
good brand.
It's everything. I look at Charlottesville as, Charlottesville has its history, right? And this film festival is to uplift voices. It's up to lift. You got me? Yeah, it's to uplift voices that may not have been able to be amplified in any other way. It's a way of connecting communities. It's a way of lending a voice that you don't hear of often. And also voices that you do hear of often. It's for everyone, the festival for everyone. And everything that I do in Charlottesville is always about diversity. It's always about integration. It's always about, bringing people together, merging audiences. And a film festival, a cultural experience like this, I think is the best way to do that, because even church is, Sundays are the most segregated day, right? Martin Luther King Jr. said that. Well, at the Indie Short Film Festival is not. Like, I bring in everyone together, and I'm sharing all these voices and providing a platform to 131 films. That's what we're doing this year. And Charlottesville, downtown Charlottesville, is prime location for something that's happening. It's a lot of stuff that we're trying to do here in Charlottesville, and I just think that this cultural expression is just another way of doing it.
Love it.
Something like church, huh?
Something like church, but a more integrated church. A more integrated church,
Yes, indeed. So, so since we have these lovely ladies on the line with us, how about we talk a little more about you all's individual, contributions to the film festival. What can we expect when we see Miss Linder? What can we expect when we see Miss Reid? Whoever would like to go first, what can the folks expect, at the film festival from you?
Well, I'll jump in, and I'm grateful. I've never been to Charlottesville, so I'm looking forward to it. Reconstruction Destructed is considered the Reconstruction period, which it's about, the most misunderstood period in American history. And I gathered these incredible legal luminaries, Brian Stevenson, the CEO of the Equal Justice Initiative, Jerry Blackwell, who was a lawyer who defended, or who actually fought the case against Derek Chauvin and the murder of George Floyd. We also had Kevin Lindsay, who is the CEO of Minnesota Humanities, and as well as Dr. Duchess Harris, who is a law school professor and professor of American Studies at Macalester College. These luminaries provided deep insight into the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. So we were covering the Reconstruction period, and at the same time leading it into what's going on today. So you talk about, you'll hear Judge Blackwell, who's a judge now, and he was appointed by President Biden to be a federal judge. He talks about upholding the rule of law. Well, that's what we're in, right? We're living in it real time. He also talks about birthright citizenship. Everything that is in our film is going on and happening in real time today. And so you'll hear Judge Blackwell, you'll see some incredible sites, because Judge Blackwell also he talks about the Duluth lynchings. Not many people know about Duluth. And you may ask yourself, okay, why did we take the film from Reconstruction into Minnesota? Minnesota had a lot of what was going on during Reconstruction, being a free territory, but it had legalized slavery. And so then we had lynchings there. And so it's a very interesting story, and of course, a microcosm of what was going on around the country. But you will see parallels to the history repeating itself.
Yeah.
How did you decide that this was the story that you wanted to tell?
So we have a award-winning series called Juneteenth Reckoning with Slavery that we've been filming and telling these stories since 2020. And this particular story, we were at that point in history because we were systematically going through the history, and we were at Reconstruction. So this came about as a period of a lot of research that I did about it, and conversations with the luminaries that are in the film, just sitting down with them and talking to them. And Judge Blackwell had me basically at a point of where I was thinking Reconstruction was a failure. And he then said he cleared it up and said it wasn't a failure, it was deliberately destructed. And so it was important to tell that story of how and why. And then leading into, of course, which in all of our films, we talk about where do we go from here. So it's an important story to tell.
Yeah.
And we're here. We're living in it today.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, Miss May, thank you for that, Monique. I have to ask, you being based in the city that you're in the area that you're in, and being a part of so much national news, kind of unfortunately here recently, do you take that on as like your duty, sort of your civic duty to make sure that those stories get covered and like that history doesn't get lost from a particular perspective?
Absolutely. That's exactly why we make the films. We started making them, and 3 years into the third film, school educators were coming to me and said, we have to create curriculum out of them. And so
college level or
K through 12, actually. We have elementary up K through 12. So it's interesting that the teachers would take their own time during the summer, because this is information that's not in school books, right? They would spend the time over the summer with me writing the curriculum that they would then teach in school. So our curriculum it's important for me to make sure that I'm researching and telling the story properly and checking and making sure the right people are in the films, because they become curriculum that is then taught in the schools to children. And we want young people to understand this history, not only to know the history, but to understand that we have to confront this history before we can move forward.
Wow. Love it. I don't want to go off track, so I'm going to have to, talk to you when you come to town.
Okay.
I got so much to talk about. But thank you.
You're welcome.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are speaking with participants in this year's Indie Short Film Festival. We're joined by none other than the homeboy, Ty Cooper, and he brought along, you just heard the voice of Miss Monique Linder. And next, we want to get a little more in depth with Miss Susan Reid. And Susan, want to talk about, your contribution to this year's film festival.
Yeah, so I am excited for us to screen our short film Bicycle Face, which was written by Mary Emily Deal. I produced it with her and directed this particular piece. And it's interesting to hear about reconstruction. I'm saying it wrong.
Reconstruction, I love hearing destructed.
Reconstruction, destructed. Thank you. I love hearing about that history, because Bicycle Face is about history too. This particular history is about the script itself was written in response to the recent limitations to our female autonomy with the erasure of Roe v. Wade. And it uses bicycle face as a means of talking about that. So bicycle face was a made-up condition that came up in the late 1800s when people started riding bicycles. Specifically, women were riding bicycles, and there were, no offense, men, but men started getting really put out that women were having a great time on their bicycle, and they were finding independence in that. And so they created this made-up effects of riding a bicycle. Women would start to get flushed. They wouldn't be able to focus and concentrate. And so they were warned, this really happened. They were warned against riding bicycles and had their doctors telling them that they would get bicycle face and that they needed to be afraid.
Trying to control everything.
The chauvinistic playbook, huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. You have to laugh a little bit, right? How could this possibly happen? It was real. This was real. And so my colleague and collaborator, Mary Emily, heard about this story and decided that it was her way to sort of talk about the lack of, or the threat against our own female autonomy today. Yeah. So, right, we're looking at history repeating itself again in different ways, right? And so it's a period style piece that's really done again as just a cautionary tale that also is still part of where we are today if we look at our threats to female autonomy specifically. Women in their bodies. So, and I also actually have a script that's in it as well that's called Down in the Dirt, and that's a comedy that's fun. That is not dealing with the same sort of societal issues.
Hey, but she missed out on one thing though. It placed between first and third place.
Mm-hmm.
So the script won. Is a winner. So it will be read at the Table Read event, which is on that Sunday, March 22nd, from 9 to 11. Yeah, she missed that part. I don't think I didn't tell you what place you were in, right?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah, you find that out later. Yeah, I was hoping I didn't spill the beans. Yeah.
So she was talking about Bicycle Face, and I heard you mention Down in the Dirt, but both are not at the film festival, right? Just Bicycle Face, or both are?
So Bicycle Face is screened, so that's a completed film. Down in the Dirt has not been produced yet, so it's just a script right now.
Yeah,
gotcha.
So both of them are in the festival.
Gotcha. Okay, the script. That's what you were saying. All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Sounds good. So Ty, what if we kick it back over to you to let folks know, more about the inner workings right now of the Indie Film Festival, right? As far as like the dates that tickets are available, what types of tickets are available, all that stuff.
Yeah. So I'll keep it really brief because I really want to focus on, just kind of, filmmaking and what they're doing as well. But the so the schedule just went live today at 2:30 p.m. today. So it's live. People been checking it out because I've been looking at the traffic, and it's 131 films. So to give you a little bit perspective. The first year we had 73 or either 76 films. Last year we had 114. This year's 131. So it's super loaded, and we have thank you. It's super loaded, and so it's a really robust festival. We have a cinematography workshop. We have the Sunday Brunch Awards. We have a screenwriting competition as part of the festival, and then we have a table read event. So the top 3 plus the honorable mention screenplay gets read by actors in town. That's a free event to attend. We have 7 panel discussions on the Black Professional Network is a partner with the Black Expressions or the Black Experience in Cinema panel discussion. Nice. But we have other panel discussions such as the documentary panel discussion, animation, screenwriting, and more. So women in film. So it's loaded all day on the 21st, March 21st at the Common House from 9 to 7 p.m. And we have screenings at Ryder Crown Vinegar Hill Theater. And for the filmmakers and sponsors, we have this year is the first year for that we have a filmmaker and sponsors lounge. So that's catered by Pearl Out and Catering. So they the Caribbean food would be there, the buffet, but you have to be a filmmaker or a sponsor to get into that. And then we have, like I said, we have the films showing at Ryder Crown and Vinegar Hill Theater. So the if you go to the website, you can check out www.indieshortfilmfestival.net. That's indieshortfilmfestival.net. People can buy individual tickets, or they could buy a pass and save a lot of money. The pass, if you buy like an all access pass or movie buff pass, you get much more access. So the all access pass, you get everything except for the cinematography workshop. You got to pay for that separately, but you get the Sunday Brunch Awards. You get access to all the films while space is available. And so you just go to the website and get them. Nice. Last year we had a bunch of things sold out, which was cool. I hope it happens this year as well. But if you go to the website, you can really see what you want to see. Bicycle Face, for instance, if you want to see that, that is showing. I'm gonna see if Susan knows when that's showing.
It's going on Saturday at 5 p.m.
There you go. Yeah, she knows.
Susan's ready. She said, "Don't play with her. She ready."
And hers is showing at Vinegar Hill Theater, and that's a great block too. That block is really really cool block with many different films. And then we have Reconstruction Destructed. If you want to see that with Brian Stevens, then that one is showing. When is that showing? Monique?
Saturday at 11 a.m. at Vinegar Hill Theater.
Yes, I like that. I love it. Yeah. Give me that clapper. Give me that clapper over there. Yeah, there you go. Good team. Yeah. So anyway, also, Showman, we have a lot of. If you go to the website, it's many. Just click on screenings or click on the schedule where it say click here for the schedule. And then when you go to the other website where you could buy tickets and stuff, click on the film guide, and then all the films will pop up, like the posters for each film. And then you could click on that film to find out when it's showing, where it's showing it, and then you can see the other films in that same block. But it's different ways to see it. Yeah, different ways.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Let him cook.
Yeah, so we are joined by Miss Susan Reid and Miss Monique Linder, along with Ty Cooper, talking about the Indie Short Film Festival. I gotta ask one thing that let's get a little more philosophical, right? Before we wrap up. Like when it comes to the arts and the films and whatnot, and we see, with whether it's things that's going on with the FCC or whether we, look at free speech and, like all of those different layers and the nuances of that, larger conversation. But what would you all like to share with us when it comes to the creative freedoms of filmmaking and the importance of that?
Who you want to go first?
Whoever would like to, we'll yield to our guests first, but maybe Miss Reid, you look like you're ready. You got something.
I probably can always talk. I don't know if that's so I'm fortunate that I teach at Georgia State University, and so every day I'm with filmmakers. Every day that's and that's my favorite thing, is to have all of these different voices. And of course, Georgia State is right down in the middle of downtown Atlanta. And we have this amazing diverse population that's down there. And our students are so amazing that if you weren't already inspired, you would definitely be inspired just by being around them. And I see each of them individually coming there and wanting the opportunity to tell their stories, or the stories that are meaningful to them. And I love that they're starting to understand what kind of artists they are, and starting to figure out how to be that artist, how to take their voice and turn that into something really powerful in terms of the message that they want to share about themselves, about the stories that are surrounding them. And that's really so much of where I find the inspiration for what I do on the daily, is from working with those students. But it's never more important than for the generations that are coming up to see us tell our stories, right? To have the freedom to tell any story we want to tell, so that we're helping to provide that platform for them to come along and then also tell the stories that are important to them.
I've heard
aware of
individuals
sort of that generational piece of it.
I've heard of individuals refer to comedy as kind of the last frontier, if you will, of freedom of speech. But even now in this era, that's being attacked. And so I wonder whether or not, and I suppose indie films has by default a little bit of autonomy. But I wonder if you see this genre of filmmaking headed in that direction, or have you been able to, I guess, preserve, to a manner of speaking, the independency and freedom, the liberty to be able to tell whatever story it is that you choose to tell?
I don't know if that was to me or not, so I don't want to. You jump in. Like I said, I can talk.
I believe we're in a very dangerous period right now. And I think that, knowing, Georgia Ford was arrested along with Don Lemon in Minneapolis, right? I went through that. Georgia Ford is a friend of mine and an incredible journalist, very well respected, Emmy Award winning. And just to see that happen during that time was very painful. But I think this is a time where we all have to step up, because the First Amendment right, I was right there to support her during her arraignment. But they're coming for all of us, filmmakers, any independent statement, because we absolutely are on the front lines of history, right? Filmmaking is history. Yeah. And so it's important that we stand up and that we defend and we fight back during this time. We cannot afford to lose our rights. What books were taken out of libraries? I mean, it's never going to end. We have to stand up and fight, right? And you're seeing victories like in Philadelphia where they had to replace that art that was pulled out of the museum. And so I think that this is just not the time to sit on the sidelines. We all have to be in this. This is a fight that we have to make sure that, again, I call this period Reconstruction 2.0. We cannot allow it to be destructed again. This is the time.
Right. And Ty, I'll loop that back around to you because you and your team are the ones who are selecting which stories are going to be told, which pictures you're painting for citizens from Charlottesville and beyond. And so how does much of what Monique just referenced impacts your decision making as to which films you will premiere during the festival?
Yeah, so with the festival, like any short film festival, I think it's important to understand that. So when I'm selecting, let me backtrack. When I'm selecting films, when I'm viewing films, first and foremost, yes, I want films to be amazing. I want them to look amazing. I want them to look like they have $1 million budget. I want them to look that way, right? But then what's most important to me is the stories, though. It's the stories, that the content, the subject matter that's being told. So if I have a slapstick film, right, slapstick comedy, and let's say I have 5 of them, and then someone submit the 6th one, I'm not looking for that anymore. I'm looking for another story. I'm looking for something that's not told. I'm looking for something that is cutting edge, right? So then I'm looking for things that have deep meaning and make people think, and then make people walk away and have conversations why they didn't like the ending. You know what I'm saying? What this and that, or how it changed what they thought about things. Like, so my film, The Price of Resistance, the film that Annette Banks and I did, it was about a civil rights activist who was talking about the FBI. That's an important story. It's shot amazingly well. I did an amazing job. She did an amazing job editing it. But it's 29 minutes long. It's not for every festival. So a festival going to look at 29 minutes, but man, we want to screen 5. We want to screen 5 7-minute films or whatever the case may, right? Well, the subject matter is important. It's important for people to understand and learn what this man went through, because what you don't know or what you forget can come right back around, which we see in today. We seeing the recall of these laws that were on the books to provide an even playing field, or at least try to even the playing field. So when I'm looking at these films, I'm like, this is important. I want that. It may not look as good as this other film that's extremely polished, but I need that, because that needs to be seen by the people who's attending the festival. And that's how I look at programming 131 films. I don't need the top quality films. I need the important ones. That's what I look for. Now, and slapstick comedy is cool. We have a couple of those things, right? But I like an assortment of voices to be heard and told, because even slapstick comedy can touch on relevant topics that's impacting us today in Minnesota or around this country, right? So I do take my time when I'm programming, and it's a very difficult job, because everyone have a story to tell. It's just, what do I think this community of Charlottesville needs to see and hear? And although we have films from all around the world, and people coming in from all around the world as well. They come back into Charlottesville from coast to coast and overseas. They come here and visit. So, but to me, it still is like, okay, what do the community need to see? What am I going to be responsible of delivering to people? So what Monique said is extremely, is relevant to how I program, because I'm thinking about some of those same things that's happening and the voices that's been stifled. So
and one, thank you for that comment. And a consistent thread that I hear is like when Max mentioned sort of the sanctity of independent filmmaking, right? Because across industries, I think we're seeing right now to where, the threat is the budget cuts, right? And like the lack of funding that you may otherwise would have received. A lot of times it's because things are just so politicized right now, and people say, well, I don't want to put my name on that. I don't want to be associated because that may be a little too progressive or maybe a little too, polarizing, whatever the case is. But as a whole, from my perspective, it kind of feels like that, sort of like the arts scene seems to be kind of insulated. So how would you all respond to that? Like, do you feel like you still you feel like you still have the level of support to amplify these voices that you feel like need to be amplified? Or are you finding more so that people are trying to get you to cut corners in order to control a narrative, even in the indie space?
Well, I can answer. I can say that for me, I'm not about cutting corners. So if I'm going to tell the story, it's going to be told right. A lot of times the cuts come from me. I mean, I spend triple the amount of the hours, right? And I'm working on the film and I'm doing many jobs. And so if I'm going to tell it, I'm going to tell it right. We've been fortunate. My partner is the Minnesota Humanities Centers. They've been one of our main partners since we started making films. And these stories are so important that we've been supported continuously. And I think a lot of that has to do with the extended partners too, like the school systems, right? Who are so underfunded. And so the fact that we can help the teachers with their educational materials. Our films also toured the entire state of Minnesota. So in Minnesota, and a lot of it this year because of the history and what's going on in the city right now, they find our films very important. And so philanthropy is doing their best to support us and making sure that we keep telling the stories.
Good. And Ms. Reid, anything to add?
Just that I love the short film space because I think as much as feature films usually cost a lot of money to make, anybody can make a short film. And so what I love about the idea of a short film is there's no defined length, right? It can be a really powerful 3-minute film. And again, you can shoot it on your phone at this point. So short films are so important. It's one of the reasons why I love the fact that this is a festival that's about short films, right? There are plenty of festivals out there that have features, and there's nothing wrong with that. But again, that short film allows for anybody to be a filmmaker and tell the story they want to tell. So that's powerful.
Awesome.
And come to say, and also just to add on to that, when you said anyone could be a filmmaker and make a short film, we have a lot of student films in this festival. But don't think that it's student films that's like crappy looking. No, it's not that. Right. We have NYU, we have the Art Institute, the School of the Visual Arts in New York, SVA. So we got top-notch school programs, but still they are students though. They still stay students, regardless of where they come from, at USC or wherever they students. But we have a student from your school, Susan. I don't know if you know, I told her to reach out to you. So I emailed her. Her name is Shauna Marie Walker. She has an animation.
Shut the front door. She's the DP on Bicycle Face, and she's the DP on Down in the Dirt when we shoot it in the summer.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, she's a close friend of mine. I think I told her to submit.
Yeah, well, she's in it. She got her shortstop animation. Her stop animation is in it. So
nice.
Ultra Hasties. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh, I can't pronounce it either.
Okay.
I've seen it. It's amazing, but yes.
Yeah, that's close enough. Yeah. So I just brought that into it because I just want to make sure that the audience know that this is a serious film festival. It's a lot of films. It's people like Monique is out of Minnesota and Susan is in Atlanta. So yes, it is a festival that attracts a lot of different people, but we also have local projects in the festival. We have student films in the festival, but we have a lot. It's important to kind of have that accessibility to the young people and also people who just may not be the experts in this field, but a short film provides the opportunity for them to get their beak wet.
Yeah, yeah. And we are talking about March 20th through 22nd, downtown Charlottesville, the Indie Short Film Festival. And that's indieshortfilmfestival.net. And we've been joined today by Miss Susan Reid, Miss Monique Linder, and of course, Ty Cooper. And we are so looking forward to this year's film festival and to meeting you and to seeing more of your work, learning more of your work, Ms. Max.
That's right. That's right. No more to add to that. It's been a great interview. I appreciate all of you for sharing your time with us. Looking forward to this festival. Can't wait to attend. Hopefully I'll get my press pass from Ty. If not, I just might have to knock on his front door.
You got the press pass. You got the press pass.
But Ty, as usual, we always tell you this. We appreciate that you frequent this show. I personally think that you are building something great.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope so, man.
Yeah, it's telling a good story. So thank you.
I was on the plane. I didn't work. When I left LA. I left LA on the red eye, and I didn't get any sleep because I was working on the festival. I had to program it, so I had to pay for the internet because you're not, and I had to program the festival. I was putting the films in the blocks. It's supposed to came out yesterday, but I was just you got 131 films, and you're trying to match them in different blocks so they could be have a common thread in between them, and it's tough. It's really tough. So, but it's up. indieshortfilmfestival.net, and thanks for having us on the show. I really appreciate you guys always. I said the same thing as well. So just thank you so much. Yeah, you guys put the wind on behind and under my wings. So it's
appreciate that.
I never feel as though I do this stuff alone, and my success is just my own. It's really not my own. Some people don't. I don't know people. You got haters out there, but the reality is it's not about them. It's the positive energy. So for me, it's just about doing something good for this community, so people can really look at it and be like, hey man, I got cool. I don't have to travel. I don't have to go to Sundance
for sure.
Or hey, I got a film. I want to see if I can get it into the Indie Short Film Festival because I think they'll give me an opportunity. Let me call the guy. I just saw the guy in Whole Foods. So let me just call. Let me reach out to him. It's about having that attainability, right? My film, and I'm gonna cut it short, but my film, our film rather. I always say mine, but I'm always representing for Annette and I. Our film, it got selected by the Pan African Film Festival, right? We got awarded the Programmers Award, which is the major award. And but guess what? We submitted to Sundance. It didn't get in, right? The Pan African Film Festival saw the film and felt as though this was important for them to screen it. And that's what's up. What I'm saying? So I want my festival to be like that, one that provides true opportunity to people. That's really what I wanted to get to. And I'm working hard on it. I'm watching other festivals. I'm competitive, so I compare all the time.
You are. That's an understatement.
So I compare my festival to others, and I'm like, yo, we got something good in Charlottesville. I'm not gonna lie. I go to a lot of festivals. I'm telling you, we have something good here in Charlottesville, and I'm happy. I'm happy that I'm just kind of like the engine of it, for now anyway, until I pass it on later on, But it is what it is. So I want to say thank you so much, guys, for real.
Of course.